You all can see me, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Because there was a Zoom issue. Like it was not, um, it was shutting the camera down. A couple of sessions, we had that scenario. And Rohitji, we had to even stop the Vedanta class on Thursday because of that.
Oh, so you haven't published the video
No,
then?
there was no class. Actually, the Zoom was crashing.
Oh,
So I know that you had that similar experience in the yoga class also. So there was
that's
some issue. Okay, so we can get started. Anu, are you in the call? Okay, she didn't means join. So we can do a quick recap. So welcome to the third chapter, the Karma Yoga sessions. It's such an important chapter. It's very complicated when you cannot marry the two languages. One is the modern language with the language of the Vedas, because this whole chapter is talking about yajnas and so many ritualistic words which we need to translate into the modern context. Otherwise, this chapter seems to be a very complicated chapter. But if you can extend the meaning of these terminologies the way Krishna tried to interpret, then this chapter becomes it's such an inspiring chapter. One of the greatest contribution of Krishna in our culture is he took these traditional terms like yajna, which was pretty much limited to the Vedic ritual, to a larger context. He extended these terminologies to the field of work and into our day-to-day life. So this is just an introduction. So this chapter started with a question from Arjuna. In case it is the knowledge that means get you to the ultimate destination, which is the total freedom, then why am I asked to do the actions? Why don't I skip my duties and go to Himalayas and pursue the spiritual path? In other words, do I have to renounce the worldly day-to-day activities for becoming spiritual or advancing in the spiritual path? That was the question. And Krishna rejected that argument completely by clearly stating that you don't have a choice in the steps in a spiritual path, because any spiritual path, you have to follow through two steps. One is the step of yoga and the step of knowledge. You cannot bypass. There is no choice. And where you have choice is how do you pursue this path? If you are so matured and if you do not have much interest with world, then what you can do is you can take a lifestyle which is dedicated to pursue this knowledge, which is sannyasa. Or second option is you can pursue the same path as a householder. Both path leads to the same destination, and both paths needs to karma yoga, upasana yoga, and jnana yoga. Karma yoga, upasana yoga together known as yoga, and the jnana yoga is the path of knowledge, and it is sequential. One's not parallel path. You have to have this karma yoga, upasana yoga combination for gaining a stable and a pure mind. And once you have the stable and pure mind, you can assimilate the teachings of the Vedanta, remove the Viparita Bhavana, and see yourself properly. So where exactly we need to start as spiritual seekers is nothing but Karma Yoga. Nobody can avoid acting in the world. Nobody can escape from their karmas. It's impossible. Even if you try to suicide and get escape from the life, you will get a next life and you will have to go through that karmas. No doubt. So you cannot skip your karmas. So Krishna made it very clear by stopping what you are doing or by not undertaking any new activities, you are not becoming any more spiritual. Or by renouncing the activity, you are not going to be more spiritual. It's very important. And Krishna said, even you cannot maintain your body. Everybody will be forced to act on a day-by-day basis. It is impossible for you to skip the karmas as long as you are alive. Now the question is, how can I use this karma as a path to progress? Because remember, we said the karmas, how do you do the karma? That is where you can make a change. You cannot avoid karma, but how do you perform the karma? How do you perform the action? We can make a change. You can introduce yoga there. A mere karma is a karma with a lot of worry and anxiety. A mere karma may not be the optimal karma, but how can you optimize this karma? By the knowledge of the scriptures, through the study of the scriptures, in such a way that these karma, the very same karma, becomes a path. It's a means for your spiritual evolution. And what happens? When you perform the karma in the karma yoga spirit, you will reduce the anxiety and worry. That is one thing. Second thing is that your actions becomes more efficient. The probability of you getting the results is very high. At the very same time, this is going to help you in your spiritual progress. So follow karma yoga. And how do you follow karma yoga? Krishna said, you have to convert your actions as yajnas. So yajnartha karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangas samacharaha. So convert your activity into yajna. So there we spend some time. What is this yajna? So for you to perform this yajna spirit, we said the karmas are divided into three categories: sattva, rajas, and tamas. And sattvic karmas are karmas which you will be you could be a beneficiary, but other people are also beneficiary. Tamasic karma means I am the only beneficiary, but at the cost of the others. I'm breaking the law. And rajasic karma, I am the only beneficiary, but I'm not hurting anybody. So Krishna said your karma should be either swati karma or rajasi karma. You can do rajasi karma, but make sure that we are doing some swati karmas also. And what exactly is that swati karma? They are the pancha mahayajna. We spend a lot of time. Deva yajna, pitru yajna, manusha yajna, bhuta yajna, brahma yajna. So make sure that this is done. And when you do this, what you're doing is you're offering your action as an oblation to the God, as an offering to the God. So there are two, means karma yoga is defined in simple terms: proper work with proper attitude. Proper work means it has to be swatik or rajasic, no tamasic. So that is the proper work. And what is proper attitude? When you perform the karma, you have to have that Ishwara Arpana Buddhi. You're offering this to God. Second thing is, when you get the result, have the spirit of prasada buddhi. You're getting that as a like a prasada from the God. So this is what we saw. And then we said, like the whole world, when the whole world was put into being by the universal intelligence, this idea of yajna was inculcated. You can see in every part of the world, this yajna is there, this cooperative spirit and this spirit of yajna. You can see the phenomenal forces doing with precision. You can see this in every order of the universe. Amazing. Like the sun and the moon and the star, in the plant kingdom, in the animal kingdom, everywhere this yajna spirit is implicitly followed. And that is why the universe is sustained. So saha yajna praja srishtva puro vacha prajapatihi anena prasavishyartham esha vorstushta kamathuk. And the creator, as his parting gift to the humanity, said, I created this universe with this yajna spirit. May this yajna be the means of your prosperity. When you perform your actions in this yajna spirit, you are developing and the whole community is developing. It is the mutual cooperation that is a means to prosperity. And this is how the humanity can prosper. So this is such a brilliant lesson, right? Saha yajna prajasrishtva. So means if everybody follows this yajna spirit, the whole world become a heaven. And this become actually, it is become a wonderful place to live. Everybody will prosper and everybody will be supported. This is what is the saha yajna prajasrishtva. And then he said, right, this cooperative work between the nature and the human being and the universe. He said, Devan bhavayatanena, te deva bhavayantuaha, Parasparam bhavayanduha shreya paramavapsyasa. So when you do this yajna, what you are doing is you are propitiating the universal intelligence. And we spent some time and understood what is Deva. Deva means that governing principle for every phenomena in the world. Like you can see that the Deva means can be considered as like everywhere, right? The phenomenal forces. The sun means the fire, the rain, all these phenomenal forces, the sun, the moon, and the star, everywhere, which is a manifestation of the Ishvara's creative intelligence. That is an Devata. And that can be extended to our body also, right? The system of like the circulation, the system means every system in our body can be considered as Deva. The ability to see, it is a Deva. So what we are saying is that you need to propitiate this Deva by following the Yajna. Yajna means doing what needs to be done. When you do what needs to be done in the right spirit, that is the biggest Yajna. That is the offering to the God. And then what is going to happen? We took a simple example, right? The body means if you eat healthy food, what is going to happen? That you're propitiating the digestive system. You're making sure that the nutritions are absorbed to your system. Then you can see that the devas also propitiate you, and by mutually propitiating you, all the whole world is going to move forward. This is the Vedic vision. It's such a brilliant vision, right? So you're doing what needs to be done in any given circumstances. That is the yajna. And that is what is Krishna is highlighting. Look at the way a simple Vedic ritual, which is symbolizing what? An oblation to God. And that is being taken into a larger context by Krishna. Krishna said, do your karma as an yajna. And when you do your karma as an yajna, what is going to happen? You are propitiating the God. And in 4th chapter, we will see how we can convert our eating into an yajna. So when you eat the food, that can be considered as an yajna. You don't need to do a huge yajna for propitiating the God. No, when you can convert even your eating, your breathing, your seeing, your hearing, everything can be a yajna. The day-to-day work you do, that can be converted as an yajna. And your worship, that way you will be worshipping the Ishvara, and the whole Devatas cannot but propitiate you. And then what is going to happen? Both of you will prosper. And then what is going to happen? Once you propitiate this Deva, these Devas will propitiate back to you. And those people who take only the share from the Deva, for example, we take our body for granted, or we get, means the rain that is coming, we take it for granted. The food we eat, we take it for granted. The oxygen we breathe, we take it for granted. So we take everything from the universe, but we do not follow this yajna, meaning by doing proper actions in proper spirit. What is going to happen? Such a person, Krishna said, that is a thief. The one who just takes without contributing to the universal harmony by doing what needs to be done, that person is a thief. This is, please, if possible, please contemplate upon these verses and make sure that this verse goes deep into you. This is the Vedic vision of life. Let me pause here. Any questions or any comments?
Rajesh, is this kind of language seen in Upanishads also, or no? Is it very specific to Bhagavad Gita?
It is there in Upanishad in a hidden form, but directly called out by Krishna in the Bhagavad.
Very nice.
So, yeah, no, I think that is a biggest contribution of Krishna. Says Swami Ranganathananda. He was talking about that it is. Otherwise, what happens? This originally intended meaning of these rituals in Upanishad was like this. No, Upanishad was not talking about the rituals. I'm talking about the Karma Kanda of the Veda. Upanishad is talking about the knowledge. But the original intent of the Karma Kanda was this. But what happened? Over a period of time, these rituals becomes very much blind. Nothing but Morning onwards, people just sit in a turf and just offer the ghee. That's that it became. And Krishna was very critical of that, if you remember in the second chapter. Yamimam pushpitam vacham. Please remember that verse. Prapatancha vipaschitaha. Yamimam pushpitam vacham. Prapatanti vipaschitaha. Vipaschitaha means unwise. Pushpitam vacham means flowery words of the unwise. And Krishna tells, Veda vadarada patha nanyadarthi vanidaya. They quote Vedas and they misinterpret Vedas. Think about this. Somebody criticizing the Veda, the Karmakanda of the Veda, blindly. That's the beauty here.
But it is more of a interpretation of that. Probably even the Karmakanda meant
it's the misinterpretation.
Misinterpretation. Okay.
But he was criticizing the then prevalent culture.
I got it. Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, Vedas are perfect, but it is only the interpretation. But a master coming and criticizing it. Remember, if it was not here, if it was in other tradition, what would have happened to that master? What happened to Jesus? What happened to Socrates? He would have been eliminated. But here you have that freedom. You can go. The beauty of our culture, it should be like that forever. We should allow automatic every time these things needs to be interpreted properly, and that is where the masters comes in. And here we don't crucify the masters. That is, we need to understand that. So one more point. So I got a question. Let's spend 5 minutes on this because this is such a topic and this is so symbolic. We need to understand that. So suppose somebody was asking me to elaborate a little bit more on the ritualistic yajna. So, so let me see the person. Okay, yeah, he's there. So the ritualistic yajna, what is your understanding of the ritualistic yajna? Why do you do a yajna? Anybody remember? Anybody can comment?
To purify ourselves.
Also to
not
devtas,
always. What is it, Arnabji?
To propitiate the devtas. Either
why do you propitiate the devata?
Material benefit?
Yeah, material benefit is one aspect. Could also be for spiritual evolution, or as Anuji put it, for purification, for multitudes of reasons, really.
Yeah. Think about this. Ideally, it is defined as something called gratitude. Means we need to understand this very closely, right? It cannot be just turned down as blind faith at all. So let's say that a mother gives an ice cream to a child. The child, we need to teach the child the attitude of gratitude, right? If that attitude of gratitude is not there, the child who is takes everything for granted. Isn't it true?
Absolutely true. I know it from my children. And they live in a world of abundance.
Yeah.
For them, everything is for granted.
Exactly. So when you think about this universe, let me extend this a little bit further. Suppose the mother, means the child, feels hungry, maybe around 8 o'clock in the night or 7 o'clock in the night. The child is asking the mother, Mom, I need a cookie. The mother knows that, yeah, the child is hungry, but it is the dinner time. What the mother may do?
No cookie.
The mother may not give the cookie, but the mother may give what?
Food.
Some food, healthy food.
Yeah.
So is it wrong from the child to ask for a cookie?
No.
That's considered as a prayer. We all pray to God. Oh God, give me that promotion.
Yes.
Or means make that stock double.
Yeah.
Or do this, do that. That is perfectly fine. Do you think that just by praying or doing a yajna, Is the God is constrained to grant you that?
No.
So,
But
if
Rajesh, question. Sorry, Rajesh.
yeah,
Do prayers make a difference though? While God is not constrained to grant prayers, do they help at all?
absolutely. God will help, but God knows, means what you ask, what you want, and God will give what you need. Look at that mother-child example.
Yes.
Sometimes if the child may get the cookie, if that is the right thing to do at that time.
Provided that is not a tamasic.
Yeah, but tamasic things, it cannot be, right? So means I really wanted to differentiate two technical terms here. One is called prarthana. The other one is this yajna. Yajna is called, as English translation, is kind of a worship. What is the difference between prarthana and a worship? Prarthana means a prayer. You're asking for something. The very word arthana means what?
Asking.
Arthi. Artho jitnyasu artharthi jnani. Arthi means a seeker. You are asking for something, some specific thing. That is perfectly fine. Whereas worship is what? So you're taking so many things from the God and you're thanksgiving, right? So it's an attitude of, means an expression of gratitude. That is what is yajna. We need to understand that. It is symbolically represents as an oblation. So in an ancient worldview, means we need to understand that time also to understand this language, the Vedic language. In the prehistoric Vedic period, see, when they look around, the rain is coming. Kale Varjadu means Parjanya, Prithvi Sasyashalini, right? There is no chopa around the world. And there are saints and teachers, and the children are born. So these are considered as blessings from God. Now you need to marry these two languages. So when you think about rain coming to the world, or something is happening, right? You're eating and the food get digested. You can look at this from two angles. One is from a religious angle, and the other one is from a scientific angle. Let's think that from a scientific angle for a moment. So when you look at through the eyes of science, what do you see? Rain happening, precipitation and condensation. We all studied in our elementary school. When you think about the food digesting, it is considered as what? It is an act of digestion. There is scientific laws explaining that. But when the same thing is looked through a religious angle, or through a philosophical angle, or through a Vedic angle, see, the force of gravity, it can be considered as a scientific phenomenon. And when you look at through the Vedic angle, it is viewed as a order of Ishvara. Both are same. That's what I'm telling. It doesn't matter. It is an order of the universal intelligence, or it is a law of the nature. It's two different languages explaining the same concept.
Rajesh, all of science is basically order of Ishvara.
Absolutely. That means the science won't accept that, because science doesn't accept the Ishvara. So just by changing the language, you are not becoming unscientific. That's all I'm telling. Like, you're trying to marry these two languages. Why the science and religion doesn't connect is because of this language. The moment you hear God, the scientists get
Little no.
Yeah. And the moment you hear the scientific language, religious people move away.
Yeah.
So we people, right, we are studied both science and religion. So we can understand, essentially, you both are saying the same thing. You can say that it is a law of the God, or you can say that it is a law of the nature. Both are the same thing. So per the ancient worldview, the rain happens per the order of the Ishvara. Or the science will say, now at that time, people don't know the rules of precipitation and evaporation. People don't know how it gets digested. I'm not trying to make things up. Some people say that after interpreting Gita, they know this art of precipitation and evaporation. They know how the DNA work. No. If you try to false glorify the teaching, that is not what the teaching is. The teaching is different. So Krishna or any master, what they try to do was, they try to take that particular ancient worldview and try to interpret the larger truth using the context of that particular worldview. This is not just true for Bhagavad Gita. This is true for the Bible. This is true for the Quran. This is true for the Dhammapada. So you need to understand the metaphysics. You need to understand the worldview in which that philosophy or that darshana is interpreted. Otherwise, you cannot understand this. You may just criticize the thing. And I see Hindus, right? They look at the Bible and they say that this is unscientific. You're not looking through the biblical framework. You're not looking through their metaphysics. For you to be honest and sincere, you have to look at that through their metaphysics and say that this is wrong. That should be the honesty and truth. So every tradition has to be looked at how people used to think at that time and then try to see what exactly they are telling. Otherwise, you will miss the obvious. Sorry to take a diversion, but this is very important in the study of any scriptures. You get what I'm saying, right?
Absolutely.
So this is important. So now what happens? In this framework, yajna means what? You're symbolically saying that, oh Lord, thanks for giving me this. I appreciate. It is a gratitude, act of gratitude that is symbolically being encapsulated through a process. And what is that process? You burn a fire, and in that fire you offer something, and you offer that to a particular devata, right? So if it is for rain, you offer that to Indra. And what is the idea? Agni mile purohitam. That is the first mantra of Rigveda. Oh Agni, let you be a priest. Last week also we talked about this. What is the role of a priest? You're hiring a priest. When you do a Satyanarayana puja, or when you do a Mrityunjaya homa, what is the role of the priest? Who is going to get the benefit of the Satyanarayana puja? Is that priest or you? You're hiring a broker. Insurance means for investing your money into stock exchange. Who is going to get the benefit?
Me.
You are getting the benefit. If the priest is going to get the benefit, who is going to do the puja? Priest is an agent paid by you to make sure that this is done properly. That's it. You have to understand that. And don't overemphasize and overthink, because he is not God. He is just an agent coming here to do this thing for you. And that is not an absolute must-have thing. You can do by yourselves. You don't have to do a complicated ritual. You will see later in the Gita, in the Bhakti Yoga, Krishna tells, you don't have to come through a complex ritual to reach out to me. If you just offer a leaf, if you just offer a little bit water, that is good for me. So this is, you need to understand. So this ritual, yajna, symbolizes that actual thing. So in ritual yajna, what do? You take this food as part of every ritual. Means you might have seen that. So when you take the food, even temple, you take the food. You take the food to the temple, and after you offer that to the God. Once you offer that to the God, it becomes God's property. Correct? And then you get a share back. Thankfully, the God won't eat the food, but he will give that back to you. And you eat that as prasada. So when you take the food to the temple, what do you call? Anybody know the technical term? When you cook the food, take the food to the temple or to the altar, you won't call it as a prasada. What do you call it as?
Naivedyam.
Naivedyam. Absolutely. So it is the food that is to be offered. Once it is offered, you get it back, that Naivedyam becomes what?
Prasad.
So now, what Krishna did was what? He, instead of food, what is the Naivedyam? Karmas.
Actions.
Karma. Yeah.
Karmas becomes the Naivedyam. So when you go and offer the Naivedyam, do you put rotten food in front of God?
No.
And when you get the prasada, right? Do you complain? I got a raisin, she got a nuts.
Never.
After putting your best effort, what you get, you take it positively. So this is how the yajna is, you're extending the concept of the ritualistic yajna into a larger field of karma. Is it clear? I'm sorry to take a little bit more time just to clarify all the questions we got, but this is important. We need to make sure that we have 100% clarity on this topic. So this is what is happening. And then he explained brilliantly, like the Devan Bhavayatanena, Te Deva Bhavayantuaha. And he said, like, when you act in the spirit, you cannot go wrong. This is the lifestyle you have to follow. So make sure that you are doing this Panchamaha Yajna. Make sure that you are not doing this Tamasik Yajna. And bring this attitude of Prasada Buddhi and Ishwararpana Buddhi. Ishwararpana Buddhi means you're offering it as a Naivedya. And Prasada Buddhi is you're taking whatever output you are getting as Prasada. This is Karma Yoga. And Krishna said, when you do that, your actions becomes more efficient and the execution of the actions becomes more good, right? The execution of the action becomes more good. And finally, what is going to happen? The very same action, it is going to evolve you spiritually. Every side it is benefit. And Arnabji, I think you are asking, like, where to start? I cannot start the Nidityasanam right now. You are telling. Absolutely right. This is where we can start right now. Tomorrow onwards, make sure that you're doing some Panchamaha Yajna. I explained this multiple times. Again, let me tell you one more time, right? Every day spend 5 minutes with the family. Make sure that don't think that the family time will happen automatically. It comes, you have to consciously make it. And people don't do that, and that is a problem with all the family. You need to understand that I have a blessing. This family is a blessing. And most of the time, people don't realize the value of the spouse or the child or the parent or the brother when they are around. The absence will be felt. In project management world, they say, right? The project manager, the presence will not be felt. The absence will be felt. Like that. Because if you do perfectly, the project manager, if the project is running smoothly, the project manager is doing a good job. That's what they say. Whereas the absent, if the project manager is not there, the project will collapse everywhere. Like that, the child, every period of the childhood is so beautiful. Even the teen, when they create problems, when they go to college, you miss them. So even that terrible teen period is also a blessing. Every stage. And what people do, teenage people say that, oh my God, childhood, it was so nice. And in that process, they miss the present. People always live in the past or in the future. They miss the present. Consciously develop that mindfulness. Spend 5 to 10 minutes. You don't need a lot of time. And that time is good enough. Count your blessing and consciously make the relationship active and engaging. This is the two terms used by Krishna. Later you'll see. And this is such an important term, like the relationship should be active and engaging. And it should be an engaging relationship and it should be active. Small things, try to recreate that. Like if she gets if she or he get a praise in the school, try to recreate that moment. Everything that makes them happy. If you do, try this for some time, you will see wonderful change in the family. When you try to care for the other person priority, naturally what is going to happen? When the wife is going to take care of the priority of the husband, the husband will reciprocate.
Yep.
What is the problem? Everybody try to put their priority first. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So this Pitru Yajna is so important. Manushya Yajna, try to spend some time, give something to somebody. It need not be money. It could be a kind word. It could be a smile, or it could be some help. Whatever it is up to you. But do something for the other people. Bhuta yajna, have a plant, or take care of a pet, or just donate some money somewhere, or don't pollute the world at least. That itself is Bhuta yajna. Then what is next? Deva yajna, Pitru yajna, Bhuta yajna, Deva yajna. 5 minutes of prayer. 5 minutes of prayer. It can do wonders. Just do the gratitude prayer if possible. It is such a wonderful thing. Like every day morning, before you start your work, close your eyes and just be grateful to what you have. Just think about, I was just talking to a doctor. He was telling me something like, look at your heart. Just look at your heart. It's like this, right? And it is going to be like this 24/7. Can you do this for 5 minutes? Look at the 80 years or 90 years or 100 years. The heart is non-stop functioning. Order of the Ishvara. One small mistake, you're collapsed. So that is the gratitude prayer. We take it for granted. Just look at your heart itself. That itself is a miracle. How much blessings we have. Why? We don't see that as a miracle because it's taken for granted. That's why the yajna is something that reminds you all these things. So this Deva yajna, prayer. Then finally, this Arati, right? Arati tells Jai Jagadish Kare, there is a verse. I forgot that. Tera tujhko arpan. Remember that verse?
Yeah.
What are you saying? I am offering everything, but whose property I am offering to you?
Yours.
Your own property.
Yours.
Right? Suppose I am giving you a bouquet or a set of fruits. Let's say that I am coming to your house. I am giving you a set of fruits. From where I pluck that fruit? Your own backyard. That's exactly it is. God's property, I take it and I'm offering. Tera tujhko arpan. What a beautiful line. This is the attitude. But what we do? Mechanically chant it every day, right? Think about the meaning. So this is the, and finally, Brahma Yajna. Means I was suggesting the other day, 3 words only we study every week. Today we won't study 3 words, but 3 words only we study. Just contemplate upon that. That is good enough. This and Patanjali Yoga Sutra, which we start in March. Just contemplate on these 2 books. These 2 books are good enough for the entire scriptural world. If you study Bhagavad Gita and Patanjali Yoga Sutra, you don't need anything. It is fantastic. So this is the lifestyle. Any other questions?
Rajesh,
Yeah.
looking at rain as a yagna from God is understandable, but doing yagna so it will rain, how do you explain that?
We don't say that it is going to rain. We are saying that we are going to, means Rohitji, I would hold that question for a couple of verses back. The same question is answered by Krishna. Verse 14 and 15 is exactly the same topic. Annat bhavanti bhudani parjanyad anna sambhavaha yajnat bhavati parjanya yajna karma samudbhava. What is rain? It is brilliantly explained by Krishna himself. So I'll just keep that for a moment. We will come back to this the same question. And then nobody said, nowhere in the Vedas it is said that by doing yajna the rain is going to come. It is all misunderstanding. What is exactly the connection between yajna and rain is brilliantly explained in verse 14 and 15. We will see that.
Sure. Okay. Thanks.
Okay, so let's continue. Any other questions?
Rajesh,
Rajesh,
Yeah, please, one by one. Radhika, please
Sorry.
go ahead.
Yeah, just the same line, whatever I was about to ask, whatever Rohit ji brought up. So it's not only about the rain. There are so many yajnas like that was done at the time, and they were all like, again, I was also thinking of the same line, like it was for asking for something like they talk about the putra kamishtiya
Putra
yajna
Kameshti.
and all, yeah, right? So they want something like
Yeah.
something like that. So probably this would, whatever you are planning to explain, would cover everything, right? Like
Yeah, no,
basically what
actually,
exactly is
yes,
the
absolutely. Absolutely. Just to get a preview, see, the rituals can be done as a prarthana or as a worship. So that's why I was giving the example of the cookie. So you are going to do like a Lakshmi Puja. What is the intent?
Wealth.
My stock should be
Wealth.
go up. My retirement fund should get 2 million or whatever it is. Perfectly fine. You can ask. But is the god obliged? So if you do this ritual, Putra Kameshti, is it mandatory for God to give you? If that means God is dependent upon, means your God is controlled. Absolutely not. It is just a means as a request. You're humbly requesting God that to the my best of my ability, oh Lord, I need this money, or I need this putra or putri, or I need this situation, this disease to be removed. Perfectly fine. Either you can do it informally, or if you believe in these Vedic rituals, you can do that. But God, what is the role of the God here? He is the karma bhaladada. He knows, like that mother who knows whether to give the cookie that is being asked, or if that child has like a stomach virus, the child might be crying, really crying with hunger. What the mother does is going to do?
No.
Gatorade. Is that what really the child wants?
No.
Is there any even if means in that case there is a genuine need for food also because the child is hungry? Correct. So God dispense the result based on what I need. And the Karma Yoga helps me to gracefully accept. The Karma Yoga doesn't prevent me from asking God what I want, as long as it is not tamasic. I can ask, I can strive for. See, think about this. Suppose I want to make money. One option is I can put money into the stock, do all those one. That is one type of karma. Another karma is what? It's a prayer. So you can choose what you want. Like prayer is also considered, means these rituals are also considered as a means for asking to God. But that doesn't mean that you're going to get it. You will get what is appropriate for me. And once you have that trust and faith in the universal law, a lot of frustration will come down. And we are going to see this a little bit more detail in that cycle of karma, the wheel of karma, which is 14 and 15. But very important to understand all these points, because otherwise some people will say, I did these prayers for you, I've been doing this, but why I got this? It is like two people in a hospital. One person is lying down there with stomach virus, and the other person has a small accident on the leg. The same doctor may prescribe a nutritious meal for the person who is lying down with accident, and starvation for the person who is lying down with stomach virus. So do you think that the person who is starving has, like, the doctor has some vengeance, or the person who is given food, he is getting special preference? The results are given based on what I need. And if I believe in that universal intelligence, if I have that faith, not blind faith, don't say that, oh God, it is your wish, so I accept. No, that's not the point. God is not a tyrant, right? It's all misunderstanding of the God. Thy will be done, mine, not mine, not mine. Some people just mechanically say it's a what is that? A helpless acceptance of the God wills. That's not what it is. God is just that order of the universe, right? If you put this down, it is going to come down. That is the order, and the God will not change that. That's we need to understand. Excellent. Anything else? Any other questions?
Rajesh, Sanjay.
Yeah, Sanjay.
So one question, right? So we have 16 samskaras, right, in our life. So those
Shodasha
can
samskara.
also, yeah. So those can also be called as yajna, because obviously we are praying to the God for getting those 16 samskara in our life or our children or wherever, whatever.
It's all discipline. Those samskaras are discipline to keep us focused in this path. So definitely, if you do it with proper intent, it can all be yajna. Absolutely, right? So doing the yajna, I would say the simple definition is doing the right thing, right? In a given, because what happens? Every situation throws a set of options in front of me. That is the will we are talking, the human will, not the God's will. We talked about the difference between human will and God's will. Human will is what? Today afternoon you got up, means after a nap, you had a choice to come to this class, or you had a choice to go and watch a show, you had a choice and go to a bar, and you had a choice to go for a drive. You decided to come here. That's a will. God is not like getting up in the morning. He will not decide like, okay, A is going to get a lottery, B is going to get a cancer, C is going to get a promotion. No, that's not the God's will. God's will is perfectly based upon that order, the rule. So now the point is, think about this karma yoga or yajna as in that set of given possibilities. So you had a choice to come to the class. You had a choice to come to the bar. You had a choice to go to and eat some unhealthy food. Out of that choice, what do you pick? Is that an acceptable choice? That is point number one. That's it. Remember, you don't need to do always the swati karma, but is that an acceptable choice? Second thing is, whatever is that your choice, did you execute it properly with the Ishwararpana buddhi and the Prasada buddhi? That's all we are asked to do. It takes a lot of practice to do this, but once you do that, you will see that your stress and anxieties are slowly getting reduced, and you could see efficiency in action. See, one thing is very sure, right? In almost all the management lessons, every leadership training tells one of the clarity, right? Means one of the skill every leader needs is the clear thinking. Without that clear thinking, you cannot be a leader. See, the presidents and all, like the prime ministers and the presidents, they get counseling every day. Why? Because even if I say small things should not bother them, harsh counseling, they will get. Why? Nothing, no hurt or pain or anything should unconsciously influence their decision. That clarity of thinking is very important for a leader. And when you do this is the biggest, automatically you are getting that clarity of thinking, because you're not this big element of the past worry and the future anxiety is taken out of the equation. This is extremely powerful. Karma yoga, this is the benefit of karma yoga. So even if you forget about the Brahman, absolute reality, Atma, Jivatma, Paramatma, Aikyam, follow the karma yoga. It is going to help you in the spiritual and in the secular field. 100% proven methodology. Any other questions?
Can karma yoga be also thought of as the process of performance of yagnas?
Yes, karma yoga is performance of yajna, because remember, yajnarthva karmano nyatra. Karma yoga, and a karma becomes yoga when you inculcate that yajna spirit in there. Correct? You are worshipping God, or you are worshipping. So that is why the Karma Yoga is a kind of Bhakti Yoga. It's an extension of the conventional Bhakti Yoga to a new dimension. You understand the higher being and you're worshipping it. In chapter 18, Krishna summarizes the Karma Yoga brilliantly in one verse. Yat pravurti bhutanim ena sarvamidam tadam swakarmanat tadarchasya siddhim vindadi manavaha. Yat pravurti bhutanam ena sarvamidam tadam. That which perverts everywhere, that Ishvara, what do? Swakarmana tvam archasya. What does that mean? You all can figure it out, right? With your own action, you worship him. And that is going to take you to the highest destination. This is the summary of the Karma Yoga in one verse. I forgot which verse it is. 18th chapter, for sure.
46th verse.
46, I believe, yeah. It is the summary of the entire Karma Yoga. 18th chapter is a summary of the entire Gita. So here Krishna summarizes Karma Yoga brilliantly. Yat pravritti bhutanam ena sarvamidam. This is one of the verses you should by heart, along with the karmani eva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadajanna. Yat pravritti bhutanam ena sarvamidam tadam swakarmana todarchasya siddhim vindadi manavaha. Unfortunately, we may have to make today's one session a satsang session. So many questions. I'm sorry.
So, Rajuji, is there any method to convert a highly rajasic action? Like, something even mundane, like, as per your definition, watching a movie, I'm only benefiting myself. I'm not benefiting anybody else. I'm getting entertainment. Is there any way to convert a rajasic action like that into Karma Yoga?
Absolutely. That's what we are expecting. Our expectation, in the beginning, it will be difficult, but over a period of time, every action, brushing your teeth, taking a bath, cooking your food, eating, 4th chapter you will see. Convert everything into Karma Yoga. Every rajasic action. That is why very clear definition. This is not an impractical philosophy, right? Impractical, if somebody say that only swatik actions are permitted, then who is going to pay your mortgage? So that is why the rajasic actions are also included here. See, convert everything. So first start with swatik actions. So let's say that you are in the beginning stage. You never started Karma Yoga. How do you start Karma Yoga? Start doing some swatik actions initially. So every day do these, means at least in a week, make sure that these 5 yajnas are done. So when you do that, do with this attitude. Definitely you will be able to do this with the swati karma. No problem. The Ishwararpana buddhi, prasada buddhi, you can that is a means to practice it. Slowly extend this to the rajasic karma. You know that I'm going to do the work. I'm creating a program, or I'm running this meeting, or I'm doing the bath. You will be able to extend this on a day-by-day basis. This was there in our culture long time back. So some houses, before they offer the food, have you seen the mother of the house takes at least a small bowl of rice and put that into the puja room and take that back?
Yes.
Anybody has seen that in?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Some people used to do that.
I mean, they used to even take it and put it on the roof too, which was where your that was for the animals or whatever it
right,
is.
Right. I remember in Kerala, like during Onam days, they used to feed like all these insects and everything.
Birds and
birds.
Yeah,
that's every part of India had different traditions, but the whole idea is coming from this Panchamaha Yajna. This yajna is such a interesting idea. So now what is going to happen is Krishna is going to say that you can be selfish in this. See, this whole system works together. you cannot just live isolated in this universe. The air you get, the value you will realize when you go to this artificial breathing process, when you get the bill. The oxygen is freely available. The water is freely available. The sun is freely available. The energy source is everywhere it is available. So it is your responsibility to fit into this system. You can consciously violate it, and such person is a thief, is a social criminal. That is the theme of the next verse. So this is the socialism of the Gita. It's not that you should kill all these rich people and take it and give it to poor. That's not the Mao style or Stalin style. It's not what it is. It is a lifestyle which accommodates everybody and which see divinity in everything. That is the social order we are talking here. And then he talks about this wheel of action. What is means annat bhavanti bhutani parjanyad anna sambhavaha yajnat bhavati parjanya yajna karma samudbhavaha karma brahmodbhavam vithi brahmarchara samudbhavam tasmat sarvagadam brahma nityam yajne pradishthidam. How important is yajna in the cycle of action? So where the rain comes, what is the yajna and how the whole things fit together. And that two verses, it is highly symbolic, but it is extremely important to understand the practical meaning. And it is one of the most beautiful verses of the Bhagavad Gita. A lot of people fail to understand this, and they said, so far Krishna was so logical, these two verses were inculcated into the Gita by somebody else. See, during this Ignatius Loyola's time, right, there was infiltration and penetration into Bible. Just like that, these two verses were inculcated. No. This perfectly works well. This is really important verses. And then from there it goes. This chapter is such a beautiful chapter. We need to be paying very attention to this chapter. So we will continue. We didn't cover 3 verses. So please continue to reflect on that last verse. So many questions. So that's why we took, in between we may have to use one of these sessions for satsangs like this, but it was good. But glad that all these questions came in. But you can post that in the group itself so that other people can also see. I get private messages on all these questions. That's also fine. Whatever comfortable to you. Good. Any other questions? Okay. So Anu, could you please chant these verses from 9 to 15, if you don't mind?
Sure, Rajesh. Sorry, I couldn't join earlier.
No problem.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha Atha Tritiyodhyayaha Karma Yogaha Yajnathat Karmano Nyatra Lokoyam Karma Bandhanaha Tadattham Karma Kaunteya Mukta Sangas Samachara Saha yajñāः prajās sriṣṭvā purovaca prajāpatihi anena prasavishyadhvam eshavoस्त्विष्ट कामधुक् देवान् भावयतानेन ते देवा भावयन्तु वः परस्परं भावयन्तः श्रेयः परमवाप्स्यथ इष्टान् भोगान् हि वो देवाः दास्यन्ते यज्ञभाविताः तैर्दत्तान् प्रदायैभ्यः यो भुङ्क्तेस्तेन एव सः यज्ञशिष्टाशिनः सन्तः मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः भुञ्जते ते त्वघं पापाः ये पचन्त्यात्मकारणात् अन्नाद् भवन्ति भूतानि पर्जन्यादन्नसम्भवः यज्ञात् भवति पर्जन्यः यज्ञः कर्म समुद्भवः कर्म ब्रह्मोद्भवं विद्धि ब्रह्माक्षरसमुद्भवम् तस्मात् सर्वगतं ब्रह्म नित्यं यज्ञे प्रतिष्ठितम्.
So Rohitji and Rathika, Yajnat Bhavati Parjanya. The rain comes because of yajna. That's what we wanted to see next week. So Krishna has a brilliant explanation. What is rain and how it is related to. So again, we have to marry these languages properly. That will make that point very clear.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank
so
you,
we will
Rajesh.
see
Thank you,
Tuesday with the chapter.
Thank you, Rajesh.
Thank you.